On behalf of the Texas Border Coalition, we want to take this opportunity to thank you all for your attendance. These meetings, these breakout sessions were very, very productive. I had occasion to, with Mayor Cook, we were in the environmental, the conservation, the archaeological meeting. Mayor Salinas, Mayor Cortez were in the farmers, ranchers, and Mayor Hale, excuse me, Kevin, he actually farms. He's ambitious. But again, what this is, we just wanted to be sure that we were on the same page with all the entities that will be impacted by this border wall or fence. The coalition has been working for months. We've had occasion to meet with Secretary Chertoff on 2 occasions, once in February again, and we met him in February in Washington. He came to Laredo in March and assured us that we would have dialogue. We feel that we have some issues. Some folks are coming in the back door. But again, the reason for this gathering today, and just by happenstance, Border Patrol scheduled a 9:30 meeting with the farmers and ranchers, which is an odd coincidence. But we had very good meetings. We are all on the same page because the basis for these meetings are, again, to get everybody together and have a major summit in the very near future to get the word out to the world, because one of the challenges is the folks in Missouri don't understand the reality of the Texas border. They've seen such negative spin put on our reality prior to the November elections. It's our challenge to turn their thinking around, to make them aware of what the Texas border is, how unique the Texas border is. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 miles of border with Mexico. Of those 2,000 miles, approximately 1,250 are the scenic and historic Rio Grande River, which is a natural border. We feel that we can clear out the Carrizo cane and the salt cedar and facilitate line of sight for Border Patrol to the riverbank, and we feel that's very necessary. But for that reason, we wanted to meet with the environmentalists, the conservationists, to be sure they had no issue with that, and they don't, because Carrizo cane and salt cedar is not indigenous to the Rio Grande River. But at the same time, we're losing enough water through transpiration by those plants. The water would facilitate the city of Brownsville with water for 4 years. But again, our challenge is to get this message out to the other states in the union, because their only knowledge of the Texas border is that which they were given prior to the November elections. And we just want, and that's our challenge. But again, this is in preparation for a summit that we will hope will take place within the next couple of weeks. Are there any other comments or questions from mayors?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Yes, sir.
I was curious how you mentioned the 9:30 meeting with the landowners. How did you see Mr. Aguilar being here today? I mean, what do you think his purpose was to come here today?
I think we're making an impact. I think we've got some traction. I think we've got some momentum. And I think that the Texas Border Coalition, which we represent, again, the mayors, the cities, the counties, the economic development entities from El Paso to Brownsville, but in combination, we've got some environmentalists, we've got some archaeologists. I think that we can be the conduit, and together we can make much more impact on this issue, and for that reason, we had a very successful meeting. Mayor Cook?
I'd like to answer that question. I think his mission of coming to us today was to say, trust us, we're not going to harm you. But my message back to them is, if the federal government has money to build walls, give it to me and I'll build bridges. Our border in El Paso joins us with our sister city, Ciudad Juarez. It doesn't separate us. In El Paso, we share the same air, we share the same water, we share the same culture, the same food, and I jokingly say some of us even share the same wives and girlfriends.
Now we've got, again, and I mentioned that earlier, I don't know whether y'all were in the meeting, for the first time in the history of Mexico, a tornado hit Piedras Negras. It also hit Maverick County, and we have such a unique working relationship along the Texas border. The state of Coahuila came in to clean up Piedras Negras. Once they did that, they came to Maverick County and helped us with our cleanup. So we have a tremendous working relationship. But with that, I'd like to let Mayor Howell give you a recap of the meeting with the farmers and ranchers.
I think the most important thing to take from it is that the farmers, ranchers, the property owners, when we got together, they didn't want to stand up and say, you know, all the property owners in South Texas believe this certain, or have a certain belief. They wanted to actually make sure that their independent views were addressed there, but they didn't want to speak for everybody here. And I guess that's the message that needs to get out to the public, is that, you know, those who are property owners in Hidalgo, Cameron, Willacy, Starr County, you know, they all need to get out and voice their opinions on these issues. Because when you're talking about the issue of a fence, you're not talking about just a barrier. You're talking about eminent domain. You're talking about a comprehensive immigration issue and how that's going to be dealt with. You're talking about where is the fence going to go? And is the fence going to be the new border? So if that fence separates your property, is truly your property now in Mexico? Or is it going to be treated or valued like it is in Mexico? And accessibility, whether or not you are an independent pumper or you are a water district, how you're going to have access. If you are enjoying the river for leisure, and I guess if you look at the property values out in the brush country, it looks like that they're not pricing property out there anymore based on its agricultural value, but its leisure value. And what is the effect of the property going to have once you say you cannot go down to the river or you have limited access to it? Now, those are the main points that were brought out. But I think the strongest comment that was made was that we do need to get everyone out that is a property owner and to share their views and start trying to find the common ground. Not everybody's going to be on the same page here, but there are going to be, this fence issue is so broad-stroked that it's affecting everybody in some form or fashion. And we're going to have to find that common ground if we're going to want to maintain the quality of life that we have enjoyed for so many years and the livelihood that we've enjoyed for so many years here in South Texas. Thank you.
Mayor Salinas?
I'd just like to say that I'm leaving cautiously optimistic about what's going to happen in the future. But I think it's time, I think this is really is a wake-up call. I think that it's time that we start getting the schedules for the town hall meetings that we were supposed to have. And I'm concerned that the people of South Texas, along the Texas border, haven't really been heard. And it's really nice to see the public come to this forum today. And we heard you loud and clear. But I think it's important to really, and I think it's time that we get going on this town hall meetings, because I really think that people want to speak out and they want an opportunity. You know, we heard about the 19-mile fence that was going to be built in Laredo. We didn't hear about it. We got it through some undisclosed sources. We heard that they were already sending out bids. We didn't hear about it until we got it from an undisclosed source. That's not fair. I think it's time for the American people to be heard on this issue. I think it's very important. And yes, sir.
Quick question. You're talking about the memo and at least a piece of information that have remained confidential within DHS and then somehow got out without officially notifying all of you. Are you confident now that that's not going to happen anymore?
No.
Not confident at all. Not confident at all. I mean, I think we've been burned. We've been burned so many times. Well, I can say that very openly, you know, but that's why I'm, and I underline, cautiously optimistic. But, you know, here we have the mayors and the judges together like never before. Like never before. And who's listening? We're knocking at the door, and nobody's answering the call. It's really time for a wake-up call. But we need to get together and get these public hearings and these public meetings so we can be heard, so the people can be heard. I think it's offensive when we don't give people an opportunity to speak. You know, we're big cities, and I think we deserve that decency to be heard. The business community. You know, I strongly believe that we're squandering taxpayers' money. That's my personal feeling. Thank you.
Mayor Salinas, let me make one other comment. I think the other thing that you see today is a change in our strategy. Our strategy back in January was we wanted to work very closely with our elected delegation in Washington. The strategy that you see us embarking on today is we're going to use the media to our advantage to let the American people know what life on the border is like. It's not like the video game that's been shown around the country, which depicts my city and our sister city of Ciudad Juarez as being a war game. That's not the reality of life on the border. That may be somebody in Washington's reality, but it's not ours. We live it every single day. And we're going to use the media to our advantage. And I think we have until August, until the House is going to take final action on the immigration reform bill. So we got a lot of work to do between now and August, and you're going to see the faces of these mayors in the media, in the national media, on talk shows, on radio talk shows. We're going to go up against the conservative, right-wing people who don't understand what life is in Texas on the border.
And with that, we want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you, members of the media, because we depend on you to spread the border gospel, and you know our Texas border, and it's our challenge to spread the reality of the Texas border, which is so unique. Yes, sir, Ben.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Foster. What I'd like to do is thank Mayor Cortez for his hospitality. Mayor, thank you very much. And our County Judge, J.D. Salinas, for inviting and putting this together. What I'd like to do, and I hate to do it, is apologize to Mayor Cook from El Paso, Mayor Foster from Eagle Pass, Mayor Salinas, and Mayor Raul, is that I am, and I'm saying this because I'm the senior mayor, I'm the chairman of the Urban County Advisory Board, and I want to apologize to them. We have 21 mayors in Hidalgo County, and this is the place where we should show unity. And I believe my mayors fail me, where only Mayor Cortez and myself are the only two mayors here. And everybody knows that Washington understands numbers. And today, we did not have the numbers. And I say that I'm ashamed that the people from El Paso, Laredo, Eagle Pass, and Rio Grande City could make time to be here. And that's what I'm ashamed of. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
And with that, Mayor Salinas, would you
Good.
address the crowd?
I'm County Judge J.D. Salinas, County Judge of Hidalgo County. And we've started this plight for now some 3-4 months. As you know, I just started in 120 days ago. But there's a lot of issues that are more important to South Texas that are safety and health issues than a fence that's going to cost $16 million a mile. And that's why we're here today. We feel like a veterans hospital, taking care of our veterans coming back, taking care of the levee issue, which may be built on with a fence, is more important than a plan that was built behind a napkin by the Border Patrol over lunch. And I feel that if we start, like Mayor Salinas said, if we start holding them accountable like they hold us accountable, the local taxpayers do, to a plan, then we should start getting answers. I want to really thank and impress on before the media leaves that you talk to some of the farmers, Texas Farm Bureau who is here, Ray Pruitt who is here, some of the environmentalist groups that are here, because this is not just about elected officials trying to get a soundbite. This is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is a South Texas or a Texas issue that needs to be listened to make sure that we fix the future of the economy in South Texas. So, Mayor Cook, thank you for being here from El Paso, and Mayor Cortez, thank you for taking the leadership and putting this together, and Mayor Foster, Chairman of the Texas Border Coalition, thank you for inviting us. But before you all leave, you need to talk to business people like Mr. Nixon about the real issues in the street and things that are hitting the banking industry. Thanks again for coming today. And like I said, build levees, not walls.
Do you have any questions? Question from Mayor Cortez?
Mayor, can you, from the side of the county, can you tell us the economic impact that a wall like this would have on our city?
Irma, it's difficult to quantify it at the moment, but all I can tell you is that we enjoy 40% of our domestic national product that we enjoy in McAllen comes from Mexico. This has been documented by several sources. The Federal Reserve Bank and other economists have done that. But what I want the American people to know is that we're not trying to protect our turf by simply saying it hurts our economy. We want to be good Americans. We want to secure our borders. We want to stop illegal immigration. Our quarrel is not with the goals of our country. Our quarrel is how they're going about it to solve these problems. We that live here in the Rio Grande Valley by the river and all through the Texas border know that we have a natural barrier already. And a wall or a natural barrier is not going to apprehend anyone. It's going to take people. So if you didn't catch them crossing the river, what's adding another layer to that process going to do? So we think it's just a waste of time. But we also think that America needs to pay attention to the core of the problem. The core of the problem is that we have illegals coming because we have a failed legal immigration system. So it affects not only McAllen, but it affects all of us in this country.
You did mention when the president was here last summer, he promised us so many border patrol agents for this area. Does the wall replace that? What happens with that? He didn't say that.
Well, Irma, we've been begging for more officers, not only Border Patrol, but U.S. Customs, immigration people. We enjoy a tremendous amount of trade with Mexico. 85% of the trade that we have with Mexico, which is very substantial, comes to the land ports of entry. So when we've been hearing for years and years and years that we don't have any money to invest in legal ports of entry, and then we hear they've got $52 million to build a fence that we think pretty sure that it's not going to work, then we question the logic of Congress. I'm sorry, but that's how we feel. Yes, sir.
Many people know the Rio Grande as a political line. Can you talk about the significance of the Rio Grande as a river in life of the valley?
Well, the river is the lifeblood of this area. All municipalities throughout the border, we depend on that water coming from the river. That water, if you know about the watershed comes through the mountains of Mexico, flowing into the river. So it's really an important blood life that we have in this area. The other thing that I want to say is that it's unfortunate that now, as you travel across, a lot of our friends are beginning to hate America. And that's a real concern to us. It's a real concern to me when Miss USA goes to Mexico and slips and falls in the universe pageant, and she gets booed. She gets booed not because of who she is or how she looks like, but because she was from America. That should send a message to us as to the type of policies that we have and what effects is that having in the rest of the world. Thank you.
Before you leave that particular subject, the border crossing numbers you've given me in the past indicate border crossing Mexicans coming over here to shop is already on the decline. First time in the history of the Rio Grande Valley as far as you've been watching those border crossings. Those border crossing declines is in direct proportion, in your opinion, your claim, because of the message, the wall being built, U.S. business, those other kinds of messages we're putting out.
Well, I believe it's a combination of all of the above. Before anyone from Mexico can come across the United States, they need to have a legal visa to do so. And right now, we used to issue millions of laser visas annually. They went from millions to hundreds of thousands. There's many reasons why those visas are being pulled. That in itself is having a huge economic impact. Now, I want to remind everyone that before you can get that laser visa, you have to go through a lot of a screening process. They identify who you are, the roots, the family, and all the things that you have. So let me give you an example of one that lost a visa. A lady came over here for medical attention. She had her visa. She came here, and because of medical attention she went over the 30 days. She goes back, and the custom agent, of course, says, how long were you in the United States? Well, the lady had a choice to lie or tell the truth. Well, she told the truth. And what did that get her? Let me have your card. Once you lose your card, you're not going to get it back. So these are some of the type of problems that we have to address as a society as a whole. There is abusive. There's Americans abusing the American system. Okay? So why aren't we paying attention to Americans abusing the American system? So it's a situation that we all should care about and to think about. But to let those that have no knowledge of these things dictate policy, I think is wrong for this area and is wrong for our country.
So the booze beauty concession got in Mexico City is related to the wallets not being carried over by the Mexican shoppers in smaller numbers.
Well, I think when your neighbor is telling you that we don't want you and we're going to build a wall to keep you from coming, that's the message. And every time that I've traveled to Mexico, and I've had the opportunity to meet high-ranking people in Mexico, highly educated people in Mexico, and after they greet me, they give me an abrazo, the next question that they ask me, what is your stance on immigration? What is your stance on the wall, Mayor? So everyone in Mexico is talking about that. And if you really want to have a security problem in the United States, have Mexicans hate Americans. Then you have a problem. Then you have a real security problem.
Mayor, retort for JD. Chief Hiles said we need to do this now before we have a problem. But isn't that the same argument that we've been using the federal government trying to get money for our levies? We want to do something before it happens, and yet we've gotten a deaf ear.
That's a good point. And what a coincidence today is hurricane season starts, that we're talking about a wall and a fence, and I will not apprehend one illegal alien. You know, we in South Texas feel that we need to be protected. As a father of 5, personally, I want protection too. But a wall and a fence is not going to apprehend anybody and put them in the jail. A levee system will protect us from being flooded if a hurricane came through the South Padre Island to South Texas. So those are the issues that we're facing in Washington, D.C., and that's why we're trying to see if we can educate our congressmen and who all agree with us, but our U.S. senators, to make sure that others in Nebraska and Colorado do not set policy in South Texas.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Well, then again, we want to sincerely thank all the media for being here, but you are the conduit for us to be able to get our message out, and our message is positive. We had tremendous meetings, and again, this is in preparation for a major summit in the very near future. And again, thank you so very much for your attendance today.
Thank you, Mayor.
We sincerely want to thank Mayor Cortez for his leadership, him facilitating this meeting in McAllen today.